Sharpentoni, can you retrieve another candidate for us?
Excuse me. Sure.
And I neglected to comment that Mrs. Vance Clemens is from West Rock Hill Township, and now we have Mr. Robert Cormack. He's from East Rock Hill Township. Welcome, Mr. Cormack.
Welcome, thank you.
Tonight is a kind of your turn. Board members are not going to ask questions, but we do have 6 questions for you. We would like you to respond to each of those 6 questions, as well as with an opening statement and a closing statement. And you'll have a total of 30 minutes, really 3 minutes for each of those. So if you're ready, or whenever you're ready, please give us your opening statement.
Okay, thank you. Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to meet with all of you. Just to get past the resume standpoint, I figured I'd give you some additional information about myself and my family to give you a perspective of where we look at the Pennridge community from a family perspective. I have 3 children that went through the school district. 2 of them are with special education. My daughter is, let's put it this way, she's top 10% of her class at Pennridge. She's an honor student. She graduated from Drexel University. She is now in California, in LA. She has her own company, a fashion design company. So her schooling in Pennridge was certainly a big plus. Her college education certainly helped, but the drive that's moving her forward in the LA market is unique and different and very exciting for us. On the other side of the spectrum, I have a son that has Down syndrome. And to give you an overview, my wife is a special education teacher. Adam was the first student in the Pennridge School District that went through an inclusionary process from K to 6. It's the first one that the school district ever adopted as an inclusionary student within a regular classroom with a teacher's aide. We were very pragmatic in looking at that with the school district and thought that would be the best circumstances for Adam. And to be honest with you, today, if he's in the supermarket or he's at Kohl's or wherever he's at, and there's a senior or someone that walks by that's had classes with him, they acknowledge that he's there, which is really interesting and heartwarming for ourselves. And my youngest son went through the school system, quote-unquote normal type of child, decided to go to Penn Technical College for 2 years. He left Penn Tech in 2 years. He's back in the Pennridge community in retail sales, and he's happy. He should be. He lives at home with his mom and dad. My wife is a substitute teacher, as I indicated. She has her degree in special education. She substitutes in the Pennridge School District. I have a degree in physical education and health. I also taught school for approximately a quarter in Stroudsburg and was assistant wrestling coach in the Stroudsburg area. So that gives you a little family background of where we're at. I've been involved with the Bucks County Economic Development Corporation, private nonprofit corporation not associated with county government, receives no federal funding, no state funding. Or excuse me, no county funding, no federal funding. We have a state program, which is a regional program that we receive a small amount of money to run the office. We do about $80 million a year in loan activities. I have 3.5 people in my office. 80 million, 3.5 people. We run hard, and we work hard. We have looked at different programs within our business model to try to strengthen ourselves for the future. Again, as a private nonprofit, we're a fee-based agency, so we're always looking ways in which we can increase our revenues to support that. We have relationships with the Quakertown Area Industrial Development Authority. We also have involved with the Quakertown Redevelopment Group, which is Quakertown Borough has hired the Chamber of Commerce and ourselves to be the revitalization managers, so we're working from that standpoint. I have a board of 26 people that I answer to. We take, in our financing programs, we take title to the property. We have a funny thing that came up is we had a company that went bankrupt, a local municipality, the fire inspector, couldn't find the company, so what they did is they went back to the records, found out the Economic Development Corporation was title holder. They served us summons to appear, and they put the wrong address. But anyway, the long story short is, my attorney got a hold of me and said, "Oh, Bob, by the way, the constable might be stopping by the office. You might be, carted off." He was being kidding, of course. And I looked at him, I said, "You know what? That's a great statement, but when the constable walks in the office, I'm going to give him my cell phone with all 26 board members, not personal financial, but their addresses and telephone numbers, because they make the decisions. I recommend what should happen in certain circumstances, but the board makes the decisions." We are a small agency. Transparency is critical. We're also involved with confidentiality, because we deal with a lot of clients that need to be looking to expand their businesses, so we're involved with those type of individuals and not releasing the information, and my board is very acceptance of that, knowing that confidentiality is key. So from that standpoint, I have looked at this position, and I thought a couple of things that really come to mind that can help. I've been involved with the Sarbanes-Oxley audit, extensive audit, about 5-6 years ago. I've been involved with looking at the Right to Know Act. I was the Right to Know officer for the Bucks County Industrial Development Authority. I've been involved with the LERTA program, the recent LERTA program project we finished up on with U.S. cold storage. I've been involved with the development of the military base at Warminster, which was a conversion of the military base to commercial application. We were given that application charge, and within 4 years we sold the project off. Those are just some of the things that I thought you should know about, and I'd be more than happy to answer some questions.
Thank you. So we will start with the questions. The first question is, what do you believe are the primary roles of school directors?
The primary role of school directors is really to look at policy from the standpoint of where the school is going and what issues need to be involved. You also need to look at strategic planning. I think that's a critical component of any organization, whether it's a school board or a private nonprofit. Strategic planning is essential in looking at moving the organization in the right avenue. And again, the policies set forth within the strategic planning process are critical.
Thank you. Second question. What one or two issues are most important to you to be addressed by the Pennridge School Board in the next few months?
I think looking at the strategic plan, and I've done a review of the strategic plan, I think that is one avenue that really needs to be looked at and addressed. I think that's a critical issue in developing the next stages of where the school district is going to go. And I guess the other one is looking at budgets and how you're going to maintain a successful budget with a school district that's looking at numerous issues facing an potential increased budget.
Thank you. What major decision made by the board in the last several years do you strongly agree with or strongly disagree with, and why?
I would look at it from the standpoint of technology. I agree with the board moving forward from a technology standpoint. I think that's a critical component in today's youth, tomorrow's workforce. I do get a little concerned about the aspect of making sure that not only the children have the technology and to move forward, but they need to have the instruction base to give them that technology. But I also believe that the technology is a tool and should be looked at as a tool, not as the end and wear all. It really is a tool that should be looked at. But I do think a technology issue and addressing it is paramount.
Thank you. Question 4. What experiences do you bring that would help you make you an effective school director?
Interesting question. I guess my experiences are really dealing with the board of directors from a nonprofit group for over 25 years. I've sat on 4 or 5 different nonprofit boards during that time frame, which gives me an understanding of looking at where an organization is and where it wants to go. One of them was the Northeast Economic Development Association, which is 13 states in the Northeast. I was on their board of directors and really initiated a strategic plan on where the organization needs to go in troubled times when membership started to fall off. So again, I would look at my ability to work with a board, my ability to understand the strategic planning, also from a financing standpoint, since that is one component that I'm continually involved with looking at the financial reviews of major companies looking to locate and expand in the county.
Thank you. After attending the 2014 budget hearings, you are faced with a proposed budget which necessitates a millage increase. There are specific items in the budget which you feel should not be funded. However, you do not have a line item veto. How do you cast your vote? Do you explain that decision to the public, and if so, how?
I think you have to explain it to the public. I think that's critical. Transparency is paramount. So I think the public needs to understand why a director, myself, would be looking at a certain position. Again, I think negotiations with other school board members and looking at how that budget might be tweaked to make certain things work is very, very important. So that's what I would look at. Look at negotiations within the school board and also having transparency with the public.
Thank you. The last question. Please state your views on interactions with administrators, faculty, staff, citizens, and students who disagree with your views and even chastise you publicly for a position you have taken.
In the economic development world, that happens quite often. My board has given me the directive to stand there and say to a group of individuals, we support a project. We support a project that'll be $100 million in your community. We know that economic development is local. We know that the final decision process is at the local level. And I've said you can have the governor, state representative, your congressman, everybody you want that agrees to the project. But if locally the individuals don't want to see the project there, it'll happen. And there are many times that I've stood up in front of the general public and talked about how good this project will do for you, and I've gotten lambasted back because there's personal issues involved. You have to accept it, you have to move on from it. You just can't get upset over it. A personal point of view is just that, a personal point of view, and everyone has them.
Thank you. At this point, please give us your closing statement.
I'll make it kind of brief. I would like to bring to the board my experience with managing not-for-profit organizations, actually 3 over the last 33 years, understanding Sarbanes-Oxley, understanding the right-to-know regulations, negotiations with business clients, working and understanding the complexity of local and state government and the entities involved with them and how they can work in concert with yourself, understanding the business community needs, development projects, and most of all, to be able to serve the community in developing a future workforce in the Pennridge area. That, to me, is paramount. This is our workforce. It's no one else's workforce. It's the companies that are here. These are the folks that are going to be working for those companies. The children we're nurturing are going to be their employees. So we need to make sure that they have the skill set to be able to do that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for giving us your comments and questions and responses to our questions. At this point, you are welcome to stay if you like to hear what the last two candidates have to say, and we certainly appreciate your interest in the position.
Thank you for having me.
Mr. Carcantonio?